From the bathroom in the back of the Quick Stop, it's the IGN Digigods. Please welcome two guys who aren't even supposed to be here today, Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
Yeah, what's that sound?
Sorry.
Was that you making that sound?
Yes.
Oh, you idiot. Another great opening, Bob. Who was that?
David Laura.
Excellent.
Or Lara.
Either way. We like that.
Whichever.
Yeah, whichever. David Laura, David Lara. Thank you, David. Good opening. I don't know what the Quick Stop reference is.
Well, Quick Stop is like a convenience store.
I know. I don't get the movie reference, but It's okay. It's all good. So we're back. Hold on. Before Mark knocks over all of our television DVDs here. I don't know what you're doing. You're making noise. You're making problems. What are you doing?
Quick Stop is a convenience store.
Yeah,
or over 100 stores in Northern California and Northern Nevada.
That's lovely. Mark, last week we had a contest. We were giving away 3 DVDs.
Wait, actually, it turns out that's a Silent Bob and Jay Jay
there
reference.
we go. Okay.
And that's why I didn't know what it was, because I don't like Silent Bob or Jay or Kevin
Well,
Smith or that drug addict who plays the other guy.
I'm going to say last week we had a good giveaway. The week before that we had a great giveaway. Last week we had a good giveaway. This week, amazing giveaway. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, here's the giveaway this week. We gave away 3 DVDs for Predators.
We got a lot of
unbelievable response for that. Unbelievable response. And 3 very deserving winners that we chose before the show. We didn't do it by drawing. We did a little slightly different method. We're just having fun with different methods here. I randomly sorted all the emails, gave Mark, I said, pick 3 numbers. He chose 3 numbers, and here are our winners. First winner of a DVD of Predators is Obed Casillas of El Mirage, Arizona. Congratulations, Obed. Second winner is Brian Eskelson of Edmonds, Washington. Congratulations, Brian. Brian wrote, "Love the podcast. Makes my drive to work manageable once a week." Happy to do so. And finally, Camille Turner of Fairfax, Virginia. Congratulations, Camille.
Camille, Schlemazel, Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated.
That's great. Now she'll never listen to the show again because you just sang her name. Anyway, that was our giveaway, and congratulations to all 3 of you. Your names and addresses have already been sent off to the 20th Century Fox people, who are being just awesome for us with giveaways. They will be sending it to you straight away. Any problem, call us, email us, gods@digigods.com, and we will straighten it out. Shouldn't be any problems, though. They're pretty good about that, getting on top of that immediately. And then our giveaway for this week, Mark.
We have another giveaway?
We have another giveaway.
What is it?
We're giving away 3 copies of what we're going to be reviewing today.
Now, are you sure about that?
Yeah. I squared it away, man.
We should give away 2 copies.
Okay. So you can get cutie. You should shoot your little Marky. Yes, well, no, I confirmed it. I confirmed it with them. When they offered it to me, I was like, really? You sure? So, okay. Anyway, what we're giving away are 3 Alien Anthology Blu-ray sets.
That literally is like the greatest giveaway.
I know, it's unbelievable,
in podcasting history.
It is. It's unbelievable. We're giving away 3 Alien Anthology Blu-ray sets. It's phenomenal. I don't even know where to begin. That is like the most amazing thing. Here's what you do straight away, and we're gonna be taking these all the way through Thursday night, midnight Thursday Pacific time. Just send an email, put Alien in the subject. No funny spelling, just ALIEN, Alien in the subject, and your name and address in the body of the email. Send it to gods@digigods.com, and next week we will select the winners.
So what you're saying is that Thursday, I guess we should give people the date.
Yes.
That would be
you
nice
always
of
make
us.
me do that. I'm not a calendar person.
Well, you
Thursday would be the 16th. No, what am I saying? Wrong month. Where am I?
We got it all figured out here on the big show.
Yeah,
but the point is that the Alien Anthology is unbelievable. Now we'll talk
Thursday's
about
the 28th.
The 28th. So
October
Thursday,
28th.
So Thursday, October 28th by
Yes.
midnight Pacific time. Well, let's just say 11:59 Pacific time.
Yes.
11:59 p.m. Pacific time. You've got to have your email into us at gods@digigods.com with
Yes.
the word alien
in the
subject, and then your name and address in the body of the email.
That would be it, yes.
And then we will pick 3.
That's correct.
To win the Alien
3
Anthology.
winners. And while we're on it, this is a pretty great Halloween title. We're going to cover some Halloween titles today, but Mark and I were really just plumbing through the Alien Anthology before the show. This is pretty sweet. Our friend Charles de Lauzarica, whom we've interviewed on this show twice over the years, is the amazing DVD producer responsible for all of these mega Ridley Scott sets. And he, of course, did the Alien Anthology previously on DVD and put an enormous amount of work into this set as well. This is pretty sweet. I can't say I really love the whole booklet concept because the Blu-rays sit in those little pockets on different pages of the booklet.
Well,
I kind of prefer a spindle, but that being said, pretty amazing.
It does require there's something about that packaging that does require you to possibly put your fingers on the underside of the disc, which you don't want to do. But it's slick looking.
It is very slick.
And we took a look at we watched them, and Alien, which is the oldest one, and the one most likely to look dirty or grainy or scratchy or whatever, it looks just fantastic. The
Absolutely
detail
amazing.
is amazing.
Basically, here's the thing that's amazing about this set. You don't just get all 4 films, Alien, Aliens, Alien Cubed, is what it always looked like to me, and Alien Resurrection. You don't just get all 4 of those. You get 2 different cuts of each one, which is amazing. You get the original theatrical version of both Alien and Aliens, and then you get the 2003 director's cut of Alien, the 1991 special edition of Aliens, which is just ghastly long, but has a really interesting prologue. And then you get the theatrical version and the 2003 special edition of Alien 3, or Cubed, or whatever you want to call it, the David Fincher one, which is kind of a misfire, but he tried to fix it a little bit in the 2003 edition, not to any great effect. And then the Alien Resurrection, the 1997 theatrical cut, and 2003 special edition as well. I have an interesting story about Alien Resurrection. Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who directed it, was at the Spirit Awards the year before, and I was covering the Spirit Awards the year before, and I had interviewed him. And I was talking to him at the Spirit Awards and congratulating because it'd just been announced, and I said, "Wow, that's great! You got an Alien film. That's really terrific." And in his, we were speaking in French, and then in very, very broken English, he smiled and nodded and said, "Big toy."
Yeah.
Now that was his approach, big toy, which is sort of what the movie wound up being.
Well, for David Fincher, it was a big pain in the you-know-what.
Yes, it was. And, Fincher, this was the interesting thing. Fincher only took that job after Danny Boyle had turned it down. You remember that?
No, and Danny Boyle would have done such an interesting job.
Yeah, but Danny Boyle just didn't want to do it.
But I think Danny Boyle would have gone back to the way Ridley Scott had done the original. Yeah. Very atmospheric. Because, look, Danny Boyle wound up doing a sci-fi film years later in Sunshine, which I liked a lot, even though I understand that it's basically a ripoff of 2001 and X, Y, and Z. But what I'm saying is that Fincher was, that was the one that had the original. One of the original concepts for Alien 3 was that they land on a planet made of wood.
Yeah.
Right? They land on a big wood planet. And somehow between that and whatever it became, Fincher literally went insane. And in certain interviews going through the years, he won't talk about Alien 3. The whole thing was that traumatic for him.
Wow. Well,
it was a very torturous production.
This is a 6-disc set. That's 1 disc for each of the films and 2 discs with special features, which are endless. There's like 50 hours of junk on here. There's no way you're ever going to get through this in a lifetime. Seriously, there's just thousands of photographs. It's like they took the entire archives over 20th Century Fox, handed them to a team of people to just scan and digitize, and just said, just throw it on, put it on there. We'll never get through it.
Well, these are all 4K transfers.
Yeah,
all the films are 4K.
Yeah.
So they look fantastic. The contrast is great. The blacks are deep. The details unbelievable.
You get TV specials and featurettes and endless archival documentary bits here, unused footage. It just goes on and on and on. I mean, there's no reason to sell this thing anymore. You got to have it. You got to go. So
basically, this is a must buy. At the end, this is a must buy.
That's it. Done.
And here's the thing: if you email us, you don't even have to buy it. We will give it to you. Gods@digigods.com.
Alien in the subject. By Thursday, midnight Pacific time. And it's all good. It's all good.
It's all good.
Some other Halloween stuff. Blow through this real quickly, just so you know it's out there. Scholastic Storybook Treasures has released the Halloween Stories collection, and they always do all these real fun things for kids. And this is just sort of kid-oriented stuff that's already been released, including A Very Brave Witch, Where the Wild Things Are, and The Teacher from the Black Lagoon.
Well, it's not the motion picture Where the Wild Things Are.
Correct. No, those are the headliner stories, and then there are a bunch of other stories in each of these discs, like By the Light of the Halloween Moon and Georgie, The Witch and the Cherry Tree, Alligators All Around, Teacher from the Black Lagoon, Librarian from the Black Lagoon, Gym Teacher from the Black Lagoon, Pierre, Chicken Soup with Rice. It's a lot of good stuff for kids. Not too scary. For the little kids, they'll be thrilled with it. And then we also have The Wubulous World of Dr. Seuss. There is nothing to fear in here. 3 scary episodes from this absolutely nonsensical, silly, muppety TV show. The episodes are There Is Nothing to Fear in Here, The Blag Bludder Beast, and Norval the Great. The Blag Bludder Beast, I keep looking at that, and I keep wanting to say the Big Bladder Beast.
Have you mentioned we're giving away 3 copies of the Alien Blu-ray?
I did.
You know what? You can mention that another 16 times, and that's still more interesting than Black Bloody Beast.
I know. Other Halloween titles worth mentioning: Crucible of Terror. Now we're getting out of the kiddie stuff and into the more kind of gruesome, gory adult exploitation stuff. This is from Severin. This is from 1971, directed by a guy who never, to my knowledge, ever directed another movie worth a lick. Ted Hooker. Good name there, isn't it? This is really just one of those cheesy early 70s quasi-horror films that it's not all that scary, but it's kind of nasty and creepy. So it's more, if you want to make people kind of sick while they're watching it, this is a good one. This is a good one to pick. But nothing hugely worthwhile for horror fans here, I would say. Anyway, it's genre speaking, it's a decent title from Severin, Crucible of Terror. And then we've also got Psychomania from Severin, which is pretty sweet. If you've never seen Psychomania, this is kind of a classic exploitation film from a year later, 1971, directed by Don Sharp. And this is known typically as a British zombie biker movie.
If I see another British zombie biker movie, I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah. George Sanders was in this. Can you believe that? George Sanders. Like George Sanders of... classic movies from the 1930s and 40s, in the good old summertime, and
guy's got to work.
Or George Sanders from All About Eve. George Sanders.
Guy's got to work.
George Sanders, who was one of the Mr. Freezes on Batman. George Sanders. He was Mr. Freeze.
How would you?
He
know
and
that?
Otto Preminger.
How would you know that?
I don't know why I know that. So anyway, Don Sharp is kind of sort of a quasi-legend in the exploitation world, but it's exactly what this is. This is a hippie movie with zombie bikers. It's silly, but it's actually kind of fun. We also have The Dead Outside. This is a more recent film that's kind of made the rounds at horror festivals. Not bad, actually. It takes place on a Scottish farm, and it's a little bit like 28 Days Later, kind of, on a Scottish farm. Little bit. Anyway, really low budget, but decently done. Made in 2009. And, this is from Vanguard, the people we've been doing some commentaries for lately, and I think it's worth checking out. I really do. It's, the low-budget stuff is always more interesting to me than the big-budget stuff, because they have to find ways to cut corners and still be freaky, and sometimes it makes it even more freaky. Now, Mark, I'm going to blow your mind here with this one. We have a film that we're going to recommend for Halloween, directed by Ivan Reitman, and it's not Ghostbusters.
Cannibal Girls.
That's right, Cannibal Girls from Shot Factory. They went and dug up an early Ivan Reitman film from 1972. This is a movie made by the father of the guy who would eventually direct Up in the Air. Up in the Air. Thank you.
I saw Ivan Reitman outside my office.
Did you?
Yes, outside my office there's all these lunch trucks. Lunch trucks are all the rage now in LA and New York.
Right.
And these lunch trucks are basically roach coaches, but they're like high-end food.
Yeah.
And they roll up at lunchtime, and then after lunchtime they roll away. And for some reason, Ivan Reitman was deciding which truck he wanted to have lunch at.
Wow.
And let me just say, Ivan Reitman,
yeah,
an ugly man.
Yeah,
Ugly
certainly.
man.
Certainly. Well, this one of the things about this movie was that it used the devices. It kind of, when it was released, it sort of exploited some of the devices used by what's his name, the old exploitation master at Columbia.
Zarkov.
No, the guy who would make the seats shake and all that jazz.
Oh, I only have a documentary on him.
Yeah, I know.
And I cannot remember it.
We're
It
both.
is William Castle.
Thank you, William Castle. They did a bit of a William Castle device here. They'd set off a warning bell anytime a real scary scene was coming up so people would know when to close their eyes. Isn't that funny? Well, this is not a completely serious gore film, but not a completely not serious gore film. Cannibal Girls, it's kind of scary, kind of funny, totally weird. And the best thing about it is that it stars Eugene Levy and Andrea Martin. Ivan Reitman directing Eugene Levy and Andrea Martin before SCTV or any of that. Come on, check out Eugene Levy. Come on, check it out. You can't even recognize him, can you?
No, not at all. That's funny. He has a full-on fro.
He's a full-on hippie, man.
Full-on 70s fro. This is from 1970, what,
72.
72.
Isn't that fabulous? Just like a decade before Ghostbusters. Amazing. And then wrapping up the Halloween-y stuff, we've got Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl, which, again, is not all that scary. This is from Funimation, who usually does anime stuff. It's not all that scary. It's just sort of weird. But why not? Give it a shot. It definitely belongs to a psychedelic brand of Japanese live-action filmmaking that is really very, very imbalanced. The people who make these movies are disturbed. They're very disturbed. But you know what? You'll never see anything like it. It's a 2-disc set, and just no other way to describe it. If you want to have a real hoot on Halloween, go out and check out Vampire Girl versus Frankenstein Girl, and you will laugh yourselves silly and maybe shudder a little bit along the way. And then finally, my favorite. This is the Cultra Special Collector's Edition of the classic, immortal, ever-memorable movie, Monster A Go-Go. That's right, Monster A Go-Go. Now, if you've never heard of Monster A Go-Go, this was made in 1961. This is one of the silliest, funniest, freakiest, coolest exploitation films you will ever see. It's bottom line, they've lost a spacecraft. Remember, this is before we landed a man on the moon. And when the capsule reappears, you've got this like giant, freaky, space monstery guy who's gone bananas. Is this an alien? Is it something that's happened to the astronaut? What's going on? Honestly, unbelievably hilarious. So you want to definitely check this out. This is a good thing to screen on Halloween. There's an interesting history to it too, which you learn on the DVD. And with that, Mark, should we dive into some television?
Oh, wait, I have to pay attention now?
Yeah, you have to pay attention now.
Okay, in that case,
or music. We could do music and
wait,
comedy.
what did you say? What did you want?
Mark, talk about kittens.
Stupid kittens! God damn it. How I hate kittens so much and their tiny, cute, ridiculous, worthless brains. I'm just staring at a kitten. A kitten on the cover of the box of Bright Red Rocket presents The Wonderful World of Kittens.
There would be no reason to talk about this except for the fact that Mark has a cat fetish.
It's rated C for cute.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. This is essentially 45 quote-unquote delightful minutes with just kittens. It's all the cute we could squeeze into a DVD. Kittens are so stupid.
It's just kittens. That's all it is.
Their ridiculous, stupid, kitteny brains. Look, here's a problem with the kitten.
What?
You take the kitten's head. Let's say you remove the fur.
Yes.
And you remove the skull. And you remove all of the protective layering inside the skull.
Yes.
There is so little room for a brain that it's obvious that kittens are worthless, tiny, brainless freaks of nature.
True.
And that their cuteness needs to be reckoned with. Violently.
Yes.
With cuteness.
Yes.
Stupid catch. God, I hate you so much.
Absolutely.
This has Dolby Digital sound.
That's it. Thank you. Awesome.
Worthless catch. How I hate you.
All right. Let's just do some concerty stuff. Music and all that kind of jazz.
Oh, there's your guy right there. Wade, you love this guy. Oh.
This is, well, we should probably save this for the holiday show because we are going to have a gift guide show. But you know what? I'll get into this anyway. Right now, Surviving the Holidays with Lewis Black. I love Lewis Black. I was listening to him this afternoon. He's so angry. Lewis Black is a great way to just kill the spirit of the holidays if you want.
He's so angry and pointy.
It's awesome. Anyway, this is Lewis Black just waxing completely insane on everything about the holidays. He'll take all of the reverence right out of it. And you will thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy every single second of this. Lewis Black, just one of the greatest comics of our day. This is from the History Channel and A&E. Kylie, Rare and Unseen. This is from the Rare and Unseen series released by music video distributors, MVD or MVD Visual. And anything to do with Kylie Minogue, I am all for. 100% totally on board. This is all stuff, actually, to be honest, most of which I've seen in some form before, so it's not quite Rare and Unseen, but it's rare enough. And it's Kylie Minogue. What can you say? She's the best. Included here, Australian interview when she was 21 years old. Rare British TV interviews from the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Her first ever TV appearance on London's 6 o'clock show.
What time was that show on? The 6 o'clock show.
5 o'clock. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? It's great. Terrific. Mark, what are you obsessed on over there? You're obsessing on something.
I've contributed so little to the show this week that I'm just going to surf the net.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes, I am.
Well, I was going through Halloween and stuff. Okay.
No. You do what you're doing.
Take control with television. I'll turn television over to you in just a second then.
Okay.
All right?
I
know there was some of the concert stuff that you want to touch on. But Eric Clapton, the 1960s Review. This also is from music video distributors. This is just classic, rare, vintage Clapton. If you're a Clapton fan, you'll love it. If you're not, probably not so interesting. But, rare Clapton is pretty groovy because most people I know, they only know him as based, sort of in the 80s since. It's a younger generation now, not quite into the old stuff, those young kids.
Well, here's the thing, is that Clapton's kind of mellowed and become kind of this elder statesman blues guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't shred like he used to shred.
True.
But he's still obviously Eric Clapton.
True. Got 4 discs here from America's Music Legacy. This is an ongoing series, again, also from MVD Visual. Rhythm and Blues, Country and Western, Rock and Roll, and Gospel. Really a very, very brief overview in each one. This is, it's about 2 hours on each one of these particular unique musical areas. And I know you think, wow, 2 hours. But actually, once you get through all of these different performances and cover all of the different acts, it's done. And you've barely even scratched the surface. So it's really, really good to get a sort of a brief cursory history of all these different musical styles. But this is not authoritative by any means. But, decent for the holidays, nice little gift. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones on Blu-ray. Terrific Stones performance on Blu-ray that you just got to have. This was performance given over 4 nights in 1972 during their Exile on Main Street concert tour. This was in Texas, and there's extra features on here of tour rehearsal and behind-the-scenes stuff. A Mick Jagger interview from 2010 looking back on it. But the performances are awesome. You get Brown Sugar, Gimme Shelter, You Can't Always Get What You Want, Midnight Rambler, Bye Bye Johnny. It's really good. And the Blu-ray is very decent quality. Dio, Holy Diver Live.
Yeah, Ronnie James Dio, baby.
Not a fan of Dio, but...
He died this year.
I know.
Rainbow in the Dark.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Dio was one of those sort of like Black Sabbath-y, really heavy metal, satanic, pseudo-satanic bands.
This is, Rainbow in the Dark is on here. This was from a London concert. Not my style, but whatever. There's a Tarot Woman, Sign of the Southern Cross, Straight Through the Heart, Rainbow in the Dark, like Mark just said, Heaven and Hell. If you're a fan of Dio, that's on Blu-ray.
Awesome.
And let's see, Kevin Hart, I'm a Grown Man. I'm a Grown Little Man. This was on Comedy Central. We've previously talked about this on the show. This is now on Blu-ray. I don't understand why. I like Kevin Hart, but I'm not quite sure what you gain from a comedy performance on Blu-ray. Nonetheless, there it is.
Now, Wade, I can talk about this.
Yeah, please.
Video Games Live Level 2. Recently, there's been a movement to take video game music seriously. Now, of course, in the 80s when video games started, it was all beep, bop, boop, and it was not. Yeah. I mean, it was catchy, but it was just beep, bop, boop.
Now it's like scored,
now
like
it's
movie
fully
scores.
Orchestral.
Yeah.
It's fully orchestral with sometimes some pretty big-name composers. At the Hollywood Bowl here in Los Angeles, they actually had an evening of video game music, and it went great. People loved it.
Yeah.
Packed the house. Now, this thing here, Video Game Live Level 2, is the concert event. It's the first time it's been on film. There's a video game composer, this guy Tommy Tallarico, and he produced the thing and got top orchestras and choirs from around the world.
That's
games
it.
like now, but what's funny too is that There's actually what they do is they take scores from older games like Mario and Zelda, and they blow it out with a big orchestra.
Yes.
And that's fun, too.
Yes.
But what's also fun is hearing some of the real scores. Like now, again, as we were saying, video games nowadays, real orchestral, big deal, no BS scores.
That's it.
So this is Video Games Live Level 2, a bunch of bonus material also, including some footage of a private party in Japan with all these great game composers. And it's good stuff. It's fun.
Awesome. Good comedy. We got a couple here that were originally from Comedy Central. I think these are both really good discs, 2 really good comics. I do highly recommend these if you want to laugh yourself silly. Bill Burr, Let It Go. Bill Burr, Live and Uncut. Bill Burr is a really funny guy. I'm not familiar with him previously as a comic, but he's good. And this is about an hour and some odd minutes long, but very, very, very sharp stand-up comic, which you don't see much of anymore. And then even better, Donnell Rawlings from Ashy to Classy, Comedy Central Live and Uncut. Donnell Rawlings is a very, very funny guy. You might know him from HBO's The Wire, but and some of the stuff that he did on Chappelle's show. But he is this guy. This guy's the real deal. This guy, just give him a little bit of a career in a film, he will start stealing scenes like nobody's business. So definitely check that out as well. That's good fun, funny. And finally, on the concert end of things, we have got Johnny Winter live through the 80s. Mark, you a fan of Johnny Winter?
I am a fan of Johnny Winter. He's a great guitarist. And Edgar Winter.
Yeah.
Maybe you've heard of Edgar Winter.
Sure.
And they were terrific together.
Yeah, well, this is 18 tracks from basically mostly through the 80s, and not my kind of thing, but it seems like it's Mark's kind of thing. Some of it recorded in Canada and Denmark and New Jersey.
He's a super cool blues guitarist. He really is. I mean, because we were talking about Eric Clapton before. Now, Winter is a little more rock and rolly and a little dirtier than Clapton, who's very smooth.
Yes,
but Edgar Winter is terrific. He's still around.
Well, speaking of guitarists, we also have Eric Sardinas and Big Motor live.
All right, now you've lost me.
Yeah, I know. It lost me, too. I'm not familiar with them at all, but this was shot in HD. It's released in DVD. I guess it would probably look good on Blu-ray. But this is bluesy, rock bluesy as well. I'm not familiar with Eric Sardinas and Big Motor live, but they're not bad. They're tight. It fits the bill, I guess. And then finally, live at Montreux from 1987 and 1988, Mark's favorite, the one and only Kenny G. And we love Kenny G because he makes us laugh. And one of my favorite bits in any movie ever was in was it Wayne's World 1 or 2, where Dana Carvey is strapped down listening to Kenny G, and it's like some kind of Clockwork Orange torture session. It's awesome. Hysterical, very funny. Anyway, I can't stand Kenny G, but a lot of people out there love him, and these are 14 tracks, 7 apiece from 1987 and 1988. His appearance at the Montreux Jazz Festival, which is an awesome, awesome place. I'm going to have to go one of these days. I love that part of Switzerland. I really do. Very special.
Yes, it is.
All right, Mark, TV.
You want to do some TV? Well, Wade, here's what we have on TV. We have In Treatment Season 2. On DVD, Season 3 of the HBO series premieres later in October. Now, this is the show with Gabriel Byrne as a therapist, and if you don't know the backstory, he lived in Maryland, got divorced, moved to Brooklyn, rebuilding his practice, and he takes on all these patients. And of course, every week he's got to go back to Maryland so that he can get therapy via Diane Wiest. So you got Gabriel Byrne, Diane Wiest, good cast. This show, not a lot of action because it's basically just people talking, but it's good. You know what? There's definitely some absorbing stuff in this show. It is 35 episodes on 7 discs. It's really not bad.
Fabulous.
Dollhouse is the Joss Whedon series that, Fox really tried. You know what? They really put this thing out there. And
they marketed the hell out of this. I don't know why it didn't quite catch on.
I don't know why either. Here's my theory. In the show, Eliza Dushku, whatever her name is. Dushku. She plays this woman named Echo, and every episode, she's sort of like another person. She takes on another persona. And I think the issue with the show is the person who you're supposed to be attaching yourself to, the person whose journey you care about, you don't know her. Because every week she's somebody else. and I think that's kind of a problem. So Fox stuck with it for 27 episodes. It came and went all in 2009, and here you have season 2, a 4-disc set that includes deleted scenes, commentaries. Joss Whedon, of course, is busy working on the Avengers movie, so we'll see what happens with that. But here you go, Dollhouse Fans Season 2. If you like it, you know where you can find it.
Awesomeness.
Also in the TV world, we have a Blu-ray, a thing called Blue Mountain State. Now, Blue Mountain State is it's not really my cup of tea because I don't watch a lot of Spike because I'm not a frat boy.
I know somebody who's going to try and sell a show to Spike.
Is that right?
Yeah, it sounded like a pretty good deal. I'll tell you more about it afterwards. It's kind of top secret.
So to learn about it, email us at gods@digigods.com, and Wade will give you everything you want to know.
Absolutely.
No, wait, actually, that's not true. If you email us at gods@digigods.com, we might send you
the Alien Anthology on Blu-ray.
Put Alien in the subject line, put your name and address in the body of the email, and you may win the Alien Anthology series.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, you love it. Anyway, Blue Mountain State is this is season 1. You know, here's the thing. It's a Spike show, so it's fairly vulgar, let's just say. And it's a football comedy, so there's all sorts of girls and and beer and girls and beer and whatever. So I don't dig it because I'm not into the whole vulgar for the sake of being vulgar thing. Although that's kind of Spike's deal. Special features include outtakes and deleted scenes, and how they cast all the cheerleaders. I just whatever.
Yeah, why not?
Honestly,
sure.
Wade, whatever.
I know. I feel the same way.
Dog the Bounty Hunter. I don't know what to say about
I kind of enjoy this show, actually.
Do you really?
I sort of do. I mean, they obviously edit together all the stuff that makes sense, and so that it sort of has a narrative and a flow. But you watch all these, you watch him and his shaggy kind of heavy metal evangelical vigilante crew. They're like S&M, but they're also religious, and they pray, and then they go and kick butt and drag people back, and then teach them lessons about life. It's only in America. You could never have this show exist anywhere else.
Well, you love this show because it's 45 episodes of this DVD set.
Hey, well, this has been on forever. It's this is the Wild Ride mega set, and boy, is it a wild ride. Yeah, I actually kind of like it. They have dog Halloween costumes this year.
Thank God.
That's what you're going to go out as, isn't it?
Thank God.
Yeah. Well, these are 45 episodes, man. That is pretty sweet. 8 DVDs, 45 episodes, just all dog bounty hunting up a storm. I love it. Go for it.
Blu-ray, Acorn Media. I don't know if this is Acorn Media's first Blu-ray, but it's certainly one of their first.
Yep, these are the first 2 this week.
This is Poirot's Murder on the Orient Express. Now, of course, the Hercule Poirot is the famous Agatha Christie detective, and one of Poirot's most famous cases is Murder on the Orient Express, which has been made into a film before.
This is the David Suchet series, and this is the one that you want to get. They don't look that great, I've got to say. The original production quality of all the Poirot stuff is not top-notch, but it looks better in Blu-ray than it does in DVD. May not be worth the price of an upgrade. You've been warned. But the other Acorn Blu-ray this week is Slings and Arrows, the complete collection, which actually looks better than it has any business looking. I don't know why they would necessarily select this as their other big Blu-ray foray over at Acorn. Slings and Arrows is a good show. It's a Canadian series that's pretty kind of amusing and interesting. Basically about a Shakespearean theater troupe that is anything but normal. But again, not like a hugely accessible show. I think it's noteworthy because it's got Don McKellar on it, who has become kind of a mini auteur of note. Don McKellar is a very good actor. He's been in a lot of Adam McGoyan films and Cronenberg films, but he's also a filmmaker in his own right. He co-wrote The Red Violin. He wrote and directed Last Night, which is one of the coolest movies you'll ever see about the last night on Earth. No reason why the Earth is going away. But, so he's in this. I guess if you have a certain yen for Canadian television and filmmaking, you'll appreciate it more. But originally shown here on the Sundance Channel, and this is the complete collection of Slings and Arrows on Blu-ray.
In 1988, there was a show called War of the Worlds, and it came out on DVD in 1988. And you know what? It took, how many years for the final season to come out on DVD? Well, it's available now. War of the Worlds complete first season has been out on DVD already. Now we have War of the Worlds, the final season. And, this show kind of came and went. I don't know that many people really heard of it or cared about it because, again, we're talking about this final season was 89 or 90. And it's basically, if not specifically based on the on the previous properties. It's certainly its own thing. It's basically men and women trying to save the world from a big alien invasion, that kind of thing, not too distant future kind of stuff. And it's a little bit of an allegory because they're dealing with the environment and the current state of the nation and the economy, and the government's all in pieces and whatever. And so it's a pretty good show. It's a little dated. The effects are dated. It's TV special effects that are dated, which back then looks really dated. But it's 5 discs, 20 episodes, and it stars really nobody we've ever heard of, unless you really, really love Adrian Paul.
Oh, Adrian Paul, Highlander, the TV series. Awesome. More of him.
It's the worst.
Want more of him.
Anyway, so this is from the good folks at CBS DVD, War of the Worlds final season. Finally, the second season out on DVD. Took long enough.
Really?
Yes. Oh!
No, stop. What are you doing?
I'm looking at things that
I
want.
know.
I want them all.
I know you do.
I'm going to say these fast so I can talk about things that I want.
Well, then we have some listener mail to read, too.
No, On the Road with Charles Kuralt set 3. Wait, I want to talk about
every time we talk about Charles Kuralt, we
didn't. We talked about.
Didn't he have an affair with some woman on the road?
He had a whole other family.
See,
he had a whole other family.
I know. I love making you talk about that.
No, but wait, look what's over there.
I know.
But
in a moment. In a moment.
I want it.
In a moment.
Okay, there's a thing called Poldark.
Series 2.
He's an army officer. He does stuff. Let's talk about those, Wade, please. They're so good.
Okay, fine. Poldark that was originally on PBS and based on the novels by Winston Graham. Right? You love it. Masterpiece Theater. Mark, let's talk more about Masterpiece Theater.
No.
Okay, I'm going to read some listener mail.
No.
Because we're stretching it out. We want to save the best to last, don't we?
No.
We do. Jason Lair writes us and says, the industry is spending bazillions to promote 3D, which to my mind is still a gimmick, albeit a rather sophisticated one. However, from everything I've read, Maxivision 48 is the next generation in visual fidelity. A more stable picture, especially at 48 frames per second, would eliminate the strobing in panning shots, and obviously action movies would benefit enormously. I live in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and we've never gotten a Maxivision movie. Why hasn't Maxivision caught on nationally? Or what will it take for it to catch on? Thanks, as always. Love the shows. Mark, why is Maxivision 48 not taking off?
Maxivision 48 is that's the format that Roger Ebert's been yelling and screaming about for years.
Yeah.
The problem with Maxivision is that the train left the station, man. Maxivision, they'd have to go back and start redoing stuff again. New projectors, new equipment, new this, new that, and it's over, dude. It's just over.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Maxivision is better or worse than anything else. Look, ultimately, Beta was better than VHS.
True.
But in the end, VHS won.
Exactly.
And because the train left the station, and that was it. So I just don't see how Maxivision is ever going to gain a foothold when there's so much agita and so much money and so much drama around switching to digital and switching to 4K and switching to 3D and all this other stuff.
I know.
I just don't see it happening. I mean, do you?
No, absolutely not. Stuff maybe in 50 years, when people are ready for another upgrade, they'll leapfrog it to something else.
Yeah, that'll be like Maxivision 96.
Yes, exactly. Email from Stéphane Laframboise. Big fan of ours in Quebec. He said, guys, just wanted your opinion on this. Last night, finally bought and watched the Criterion release of Make Way for Tomorrow. I thought it was quite moving and still very relevant today. My wife thought she enjoyed the movie. Though she enjoyed the movie, asked me the following question. Does a movie need to be depressing or sad to be critically acclaimed? It seems to her a lot of them are. I'm not sure I entirely agree, but she pointed out examples from my movie collection, and it got me thinking. There seems to be an awful lot of heavy, dark, depressing movies in the Criterion collection. So as a movie critic, do you feel that it makes a movie more memorable when it is bleak and sad than it would be otherwise? Also, any cheerful or light, happy movies I could show her as part of the Criterion library. Love the show as always. I recommended The Lady Eve to him, and I think Rushmore, and there were a whole bunch of really great, funny films in the Criterion collection.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of good Preston Sturges stuff.
Look, here's the thing. I don't know that I agree 100%. Look, Star Wars, and there's plenty of the wonderful films that are uplifting and fantastic that are classics. But the movies that become classics, a lot of them, not all of them, are ones that really delve into the human experience. And again, if you're watching an Adam Sandler comedy, it might be funny, but it's not delving into the human experience.
Very true.
And critics tend, because critics see a lot of movies, and a lot of it is crap, they really tend to latch on to the humanist tales of man's foibles and whatever, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And that's the stuff that really resonates.
Absolutely.
Because again, the more movies you watch, the deeper your palate becomes. And I think that's why you get a lot of these depressing movies being hailed as classics.
And John McDevitt says, guys, any idea what's going on with The Sopranos Blu-ray? Season 1 came out last fall.
Wait. The Sopranos?
Yes, exactly. Season 1 came out last fall. No word on Season 2. Are they waiting to release it as one big box set? Deadwood is coming out as a Blu-ray next month, which hopefully indicates HBO hasn't given up on the format. No word on it. I can only imagine that HBO is really trying to gauge this because HBO doesn't sort of blow out their releases every month. They have a very select handful of titles that are released every month. They know that they have a competition in the marketplace, and they want to make sure that they sort of find their market when their market is ready. And my guess is that HBO's – I was thinking about this a little bit after I answered him. I'll bet HBO – really relies on the idea that their fans watch them in HD so that they don't have to buy HD. And I think they may have done some market research and found that there's not a huge market out there for HD HBO stuff. It may be a little more niche than they anticipated. It's just a guess.
Could be. I know that a lot of those HBO shows are streamable on Netflix.
Yeah, see?
Which might be part of it, too.
Yeah. And then we got an absolutely excellent email from Nicholas Gordon, who's been a listener for a long time. Really enjoyed this email. And it hits a lot of points that Mark and I have been hitting for years in print and on podcast and on radio and on everything else. He says, Wade and Mark, I was in a real classic mood over the weekend, and I watched Blu-ray editions of The Maltese Falcon and The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. And it occurred to me, it seems that studio executives, producers, and even directors have really turned Hollywood into a business and stopped it from being an art form. I know there's a wealth of independent movies, but back in the day, mainstream movies were so incredible. I know that comparing the classic era to modern day is unfair, but I have a hard time finding movies today that 60 years from now, people will look back and comment on how amazing they are. With this idea in my head, I further contemplated about the changing of the times. I realized the days of such directors as Steven Spielberg, Francis Coppola, Martin Scorsese, Ridley Scott, Ron Howard, and Clint Eastwood are coming to an end, if not long gone, and filling the void is McGee, Stephen Sommers, Michael Bay, Zack Snyder, Tony Scott, Jon Favreau, Chris Columbus, Roland Emmerich, and Sean Levy. My gosh, that's depressing, and he didn't even put Brett Ratner in there. The only directors in the business I have any faith in are J.J. Abrams, Bryan Singer, and Chris Nolan. My question to you is, am I way out of touch and looking in the wrong places for modern quality movies, or are we indeed doomed to suffer the cinematic equivalent of ancient Troy being ravaged by the Greeks? He says, while writing this, I made an offering of milk and fresh-baked cookies. I hope my sacrifice brings many blessings from the Digigods. Mark, feelings?
Well, the issue is that the movies that are memorable that you talk about are being ghettoized into, let's say, foreign releases or specialty distributors, Sundance pickups, that kind of stuff. The studio stuff is basically now just product.
True.
Big ticket product. Now, some of that product is entertaining.
Yes.
Sometimes it is.
I think I was thinking about this just 2 days ago. I was having this conversation with somebody. We're talking about what is and is not commercial. And I think the idea at the studios is not that a certain movie may or may not be commercial because people want to see it. There are a lot of movies out there that they don't want to release that there's a huge audience for. Commercial has less to do with is there an audience for it and much more to do with how expensive and hard is it going to be to market it to its audience. The marketing challenge is what determines whether it's commercial or not whether there's an audience. And that's not really fair, but unfortunately that's the business model that's being imposed on the studios by their corporate parents. And I've told you this before. There are two things in the world I do not think should be publicly owned. And that's by shareholders and that whole corporate structure so that you have quarterly earnings reports and all that mandated SEC stuff. And that's sports teams and movie studios. For those to excel, you need a personal touch. You need a guy who owns a sports team who is like a Steinbrenner or a Jerry Buss, who really has, or even a Mark Cuban, who takes a personal interest in the team and who oversees, who can connect with the players. And you sort of feel that there's a human interaction that drives the enterprise instead of just some number crunchers and a giant board somewhere. And I think the same thing goes for studios because you're working with artists. There was something that Ryan Kavanaugh said about a year or two ago that was, I think, kind of unwise when he said with Relativity Media, I'm running a business here. I'm not here looking to make win awards or make art. Well, maybe he's not, but the people who make his movies are. And if you want them to enjoy doing what they're doing, you need to do what the studios of old did when Jack Warner and Carl Laemmle and Louis B. Mayer and these guys, they would say to these artistically driven directors, I'll make you a deal. Do one for me and I'll let you do one for you.
Well, it's the Soderbergh thing. So Soderbergh used to do.
Yeah.
One for him, one for them.
Yeah. And you keep your artists happy that way, but they're not doing that anymore.
Well, because the studios don't look they don't look any farther than their next quarterly earnings report. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And the only long view they take on a movie is whatever revenue streams they can extrapolate down the line.
Precisely.
The DVD, the pay TV, the network deal,
all that jazz,
all that sort of stuff. They don't really care if it wins an Oscar. I mean, that's the studios don't.
All right. That being said,
hello.
Yes, no, good points. But we got 15 minutes left. We're going to roll through.
Oh, some great stuff.
Some really great stuff. It's holiday season, and the good stuff's coming. The Blu-ray special edition of The Seven Samurai from the Criterion Collection is out. This is all the same jazz that was on the previous special edition of The Seven Samurai. This has been out at least 5 times on DVD, and this is it. Just get it. This is it. You're done. The Blu-ray of Seven Samurai. You will be happy for the rest of your life. This has particularly that great 2-hour conversation from 1993 between Akira Kurosawa and Nagisa Oshima. If you are a Japanese New Wave nerd like I am, you're just going to be in heaven. This is a great movie. This is one of the greatest movies of all time. Great essays, great everything. On Blu-ray, the black and white is spectacular, and the grain is intact. I love it on Blu-ray when you can see the grain and you just want to pull it off the screen and bake bread with it.
I don't know about that part, but I have to say that that's one thing. I think we talked about this last week. That's one thing that the studios are getting better at, which is not automatically eliminating grain.
True.
Sometimes the grain is because it's old, and I get that, but sometimes the grain was the choice of the DP and the director.
Very true.
That was their choice, was to have grain.
Very true. Mark, you just saw this film recently. You didn't see this in the theater. How does it play on Blu-ray?
Well, Winter's Bone, which is on Blu-ray and DVD, you could play this thing black and white and upside down, and it is quite an experience.
It's a great movie.
So well directed by Deborah Granick, who also directed Down to the Bone.
She makes depressing movies with the word bone in the title.
And actually, LAFCA, the LA Film Critics, of which we are members, we gave...
That's right. The lead actress of Down to the Bone from Up in the Air,
Vera
Farmiga.
Mm-hmm. So in the movie, in Down to the Bone... this girl, Jennifer Lawrence, who's fantastic. She plays a 17-year-old girl. Her father is long gone. She lives with her mother, who's demented, her brother and sister. They live in the Ozarks. So literally, you are with these people who are just the toothless Ozarks that you just dream of.
And they are every single last one of them, if they're not meth heads, they're cooking crank.
They are.
Like, really, they're either using meth or they're dealing meth or they're baking meth or they're storing meth. But it's like this disgusting hillbilly subculture where the entire economy revolves around meth.
Yes. So what happens is that it turns out that the father has a court date. The father is long gone. The father has a court date. Girl hasn't seen the father forever. Nope. Turns out that in order to make bail, the father put up the house as collateral. So if the 17-year-old girl cannot track down the father in a week, the court's going to take their house away.
That's just an awful dilemma.
But what's amazing about the film, it's very much like Heart of Darkness, because you get this 17-year-old girl who's got to go through this Ozark community to try to find her father, and she starts to meet all the people who interacted with her father's family, try to find her father. And what's amazing about the film is that it is so authentic looking. Deborah Granick, who did such a great job, she shoots it in Missouri with people who look exactly like you'd imagine these people look, and it's got a very slow pace to it. Not a lot of cutting, a lot of just empty moments where people just sort of contemplate. But it's so well done. It is so authentic looking. It's just one of the best films of the year.
You know what would make their lives better?
Kittens, stupid kids. Hang on for a second. This DVD of Kittens contains a fun musical score by the talented Mr. Brian Dewan.
Yes. Somebody just needs to go to the Ozarks and just say, forget about meth. Kittens.
It's rated C for cute.
Yes.
Anyway, so Winter's Bone, I'm telling you, man, this is one of the best films of the year. You have not seen or felt anything like this film. because you will feel like you are with these people, and not even in like a cinematic way, not in a phony cinematic way are you with these people.
No, I don't feel like any of these people are actors. I feel like I was thrust into the middle of just some hillbilly crank nightmare, and and as I was admiring it, at the same time I wanted to get out.
It is impeccably cast, and it's just, I literally, as Wade said, I literally saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
And it is just great. And it's on Blu-ray, and you know what? There's not much difference between the Blu-ray and the DVD, but I will say this: it's so well shot, and it's just if you can, I know it's a small release, but if you got the bucks, at least rent the Blu-ray, because I think you'll really appreciate it.
Totally. All right. Yes.
Oh, hello. Please Give is the new one from Nicole Holofcener, who's a terrific independent director. I like her a lot. And this film, I like this a lot. Did you not like this film?
I like this. I do. I liked it a lot. I like all of her movies. I think they're very well written. I think it's a really interesting, her last film, Friends with Money, was super, super well written. Really good characters, very well designed. And this is an interesting bit about a couple and then two sisters who are taking care of their grandmother, and it gets into the interaction of these two different families, and one wants to purchase the other one's apartment, which ain't going to happen until the grandmother dies, and then there's an affair, and it all kind of centers around what we give and what we keep and what charity is in a literal and figurative way. It's a very, very smart film and very delicate performances. Catherine Keener is really good. Oliver Platt is terrific, and Amanda Peet, people don't give her enough credit. She is a very, very good actress. But Rebecca Hall, been a huge fan of hers for a long time. She's getting better and better. Peter Hall's daughter, the British director.
Monty Hall?
Exactly.
Halls of Montezuma?
Yes.
Speaking of war, Wade,
yes.
Here's what has to happen.
I know.
First of all, everybody has to go, and if you don't win the Alien Anthology...
Go buy
the Alien Anthology.
Yes.
But also, while you're in the store, here's what has to happen.
We're costing people a lot of money this week. because we got this. Is what. Stop.
Yes. You also have to go buy one of the greatest anti-war films ever made, Paths of Glory. This was Stanley Kubrick's coming out party.
It really was.
This is with Kirk Douglas, and it's a
the Killing was sort of a coming out party, but this is it.
This is where he became
the man.
Yes.
Because you're a degenerate old man. My favorite line of Kirk Douglas's.
Awesome.
You're a degenerate old man.
World War I.
I said that to the guy I was buying shoes from the other day. He didn't get it.
World War I, Kirk Douglas, French colonel who fights the Army's top brass because his men are accused of cowardice.
This is one of the few World War I movies that's ever been made. Like Steven Spielberg's going to make one, but there aren't a lot of them.
Well, I'll tell you, A Grand Illusion is another great one.
Yeah.
So Paths of Glory, which from 1957. It's also, by the way, this is a famous piece of trivia, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know, is that in the last scene of the film, a woman sings a song. I won't give you the whole, in case you haven't seen
Kubrick's wife.
That woman wound up being
his wife.
Kubrick's wife.
Yes.
They wound up getting married. Anyway, this Blu-ray is just fantastic. The end. New audio commentary from Gary Giddens, which is very good. Excerpt from a 1966 audio interview with Kubrick. Kubrick on audio, Kubrick on video. Very hard to find. The guy was, although his family, denies it, and Kubrick never thought himself as one.
Yep.
Guy's kind of a recluse. He never really did a lot of press.
And I just want to point out, the only way this movie has previously been available, it's on DVD and Blu-ray this week from Criterion, but this has previously only been available as an absolutely atrocious, non-anamorphic DVD from MGM from 12 years ago. I mean, truly, it has been unavailable in any acceptable format.
Right. And you know what?
This is so go to town.
Beautiful black and white 1.66 to 1 transfer.
Yeah.
Blu-ray, great contrast in black and white. Paths of Glory, folks. Go buy it. The
Kirk
end.
Douglas.
Buy it.
Yes. Mark.
What?
There was
what, Wade?
Yes, there's another Blu-ray out for this week from Criterion, House. Now, I know what you're thinking. House, the horror film, the stupid little movie about the little creatures that come through the portal.
Oh, with William Catt.
Yeah, no, not that.
Wait, maybe it's House, the Fox show about the doctor who also has all sorts of crazy theories.
No, not that House. Because when I first got this, I was like, "Oh, House, really? The horror film? Boy, they're kind of going weird." No. This is a movie I'd never even heard of before, believe it or not, and I know my movies. This is a 1977 Japanese movie by the director Nobuhiko Obayashi. I'm sure if anyone out there speaks Japanese, I've just completely offended your ears. But he made this in 1977, and it's sort of a fusion between, it's like a transitional film between modern, weird, freaky, psycho-Japanese cinema and the more classical stuff that was emerging from the Japanese New Wave. So it's sort of... He bridges two different styles of Japanese filmmaking, and it's kind of cool. It's probably a pretty good movie for Halloween. I wouldn't say it's scary, more just weird and kind of hallucinogenic. But it's about this little girl, or not terribly little, but she and some of her classmates go to her aunt's home out in the country, and they encounter all kinds of just weird, demonic, ghost-like encounters, and it's some of this is done with like traditional animation. Some of it is done with very weird kind of quasi-animation, matte work. There's honestly no way to ever describe this movie. You'll be completely blown away and mystified, and it'll freak you out a little bit, but check it out. It's, it's almost like, what it's like, Mark? Here, as I sit here struggling to describe this, Frank Zappa would have made this. He would have.
You know what? That's a compliment.
Yeah, Frank Zappa would have made this.
You know what else Frank Zappa would have done? He would have emailed gods@digigods.com to try to win the Alien Anthology.
He would. He would have put Alien in the title, in the subject, and his name and address in the body of the email. That's what he would have done.
He would have. And he would have gotten it to us by Thursday.
At midnight Pacific time.
That's right.
Gods@digigods.com. Mark?
Oh!
If the Alien Anthology weren't the greatest thing this week, we would have been touting the 21st.
The 20-column first?
21st.
The 20-column first.
It's because we both saw the King's Speech, and
And we both loved it.
We both loved it. Gosh, that's a good movie. We'll talk about that later in the year when it opens in December. We would have been talking about at the top of the show about the 25th Anniversary Trilogy edition on Blu-ray with digital copy of Back to the Future. All three movies beautifully, gorgeously, fantabulously remastered. I don't like the Digipack packaging quite so much. I could do without it, but I'll tell you, there is some awesome stuff here. Now, forget about all the Pocket Blue and BD Live junk and all the U-Control crap on here that they always throw onto these Universal DVDs and Blu-rays. There's like trivia and all kinds of little pop-up storyboard things, and all this gimmicky stuff. Forget about it. Not worth the deal. The good stuff is it's all the behind-the-scenes junk, which is terrific. Really awesome. Tons of behind-the-scenes stuff here. There is a 6-part retrospective documentary with new interviews, and it gives... there's stuff I thought I knew about this movie. No way. I knew nothing about this series, all three films.
You realize what other extras on this thing? They have Eric Stoltz.
Yes.
Playing the role.
Yes.
Playing the role. His scenes.
Yes.
That were shot.
And I was momentarily on the set. Have I talked about that on this show before?
You have not.
That when we snuck onto the set of Back to the Future when they were setting up for the clock tower scene when Eric Stoltz was still part of the cast.
You know what? I've known you for 20 years. I don't even know that.
I probably shouldn't be talking about this. Anyway, look, go get it. Honestly, it's just unbelievable.
Look, producer Bob Gale was intimately involved in the mastering of this thing. 1080p. It looks great. There's
unreal.
It's crisp. The textures are great. There's very little digital noise reduction on there, which is nice because it's much more true to what Bob Zemeckis had directed. And you know what? I'm actually I'm a contrarian here.
Yeah.
I like 3.
I do too.
It's the Western. one.
I went to the Back to the Future marathon.
Wait. Oh wait, no wait. 3 was the Western one, right?
Yes.
I like that one.
I went to the Back to the Future marathon when they premiered at midnight. 3 was on. It was great. And in a nutshell, I once snuck onto the Universal lot along with 2 of my friends and Brian Burke. Brian Burke, who produced Cloverfield and who's producing all of J.J. Abrams stuff now, including the Star Trek movie. Brian actually snookered all of us to drive onto the Universal lot. We said we were going to a screening in the Hitchcock Theater. The guards at the time, pre-9/11 by a couple of decades, they're like, oh yeah, whatever. Waved us onto the lot, and we walked right into the clock tower scene at about 8 o'clock at night as they were setting up. And it turns out Brian had some bet with the gaffer that he had met at a coffee shop, and said he could sneak onto the set, and by golly, we did. But that was Brian Burke. Now executive producer of J.J. Abrams' Star Trek and all the rest of them.
But of course, in 2010, Brian could have taken an iPhone photo.
Yes.
But in 1980, whatever, how did he prove to the gaffer he had made it onto the set?
Because he walked up and he talked to him right then and there.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. See you next week.